The morning shift at Rosie's diner was usually predictable. Coffee refills for the regulars, scrambled eggs with a side of gossip, and the occasional tourists who wandered in from the highway looking confused and hungry. Maya Martinez had worked there for 3 years, and she could practically predict every order before it left a customer's mouth. But nothing could have prepared her for the little girl with the enormous brown eyes who walked through the door that Tuesday morning. She was maybe 5 years old, with dark curls cascading past her shoulders, and a dress that probably cost more than Maya's monthly rent. Her patent leather shoes clicked against the checkered linoleum floor as she walked. No, marched, straight up to the counter where Maya was wiping down the coffee station. "Excuse me," the child said with the formal politeness of someone much older. "Are you a mommy?" Maya nearly dropped the coffee pot. She set it down carefully and crouched to the girl's eye level. "Well, hello there, sweetheart. Are you lost? Where are your parents?" The little girl's bottom lip trembled slightly, but she composed herself with remarkable discipline. "My daddy is parking the car, but I have a very important question." She paused dramatically. "I need a mommy, and you seem very nice. Will you please be my mommy?" Before Maya could respond, the bell above the door chimed, and a man entered who seemed to suck all the air from the room. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with sharp features that looked carved from marble. His suit was impeccable, black and clearly expensive, tailored to perfection. Dark hair swept back from his forehead, and his eyes, the same deep brown as the little girl's, scanned the diner with an intensity that made Maya's skin prickle. Those eyes landed on the child, and something in his expression softened infinitesimally. "Isabella," he said, his voice a low rumble with a slight accent Maya couldn't quite place. "Italian, maybe. What have I told you about running ahead? But Daddy, I found her." Isabella turned back to Maya with desperate hope in her eyes. "She's perfect. She has a nice smile and she didn't laugh at me." The man's gaze shifted to Maya, and she felt pinned in place like a butterfly on a collector's board. He studied her for a long moment. Her faded uniform, her ponytail, the flour stain on her apron from the morning's biscuit baking, and something flickered in his expression. Curiosity, perhaps, or assessment. "I apologize for my daughter," he said, moving closer with the fluid grace of a predator. "Isabella has been fixated on certain ideas lately." "It's no problem," Maya managed, straightening up. "She's very sweet." "I am sweet," Isabella confirmed, then grabbed Maya's hand with both of hers. "And you're beautiful, and you smell like cinnamon, and I think you would be the best mommy ever." "Bella," the man's voice held a warning note. "We discussed this." "But you said I could look." Isabella's eyes filled with tears that she clearly fought to contain. "You said if I found someone nice, we could talk about it." The man's jaw tightened, and Maya saw a muscle tick there. "I said we would discuss it privately, at home, not in public places where you ambush innocent waitresses." "She's not innocent. I mean, she's not a random waitress." Isabella stomped her little foot. "She's special. I can tell." Maya felt like she'd stumbled into a parallel universe. Maybe I should—" "Please sit with us," the man interrupted, gesturing to a booth in the corner. The way he said it made it clear it wasn't really a request. "I'll explain, and compensate you for your time." "I'm working," Maya protested weakly. At that moment, Rosie herself emerged from the kitchen, took one look at the situation, and waved Maya away. "Go on, honey. Sally can cover your section. Something tells me this is important." That was how Maya found herself sliding into a red vinyl booth across from a man who radiated danger like other people radiated body heat, with a small girl pressed against her side like she'd known Maya her entire life. "My name is Vincent Moretti," the man said once they'd settled in. He didn't offer his hand, and Maya was grateful. She had a feeling that touching him would be like touching a live wire. "This is my daughter, Isabella. Maya Martinez," she replied, then looked down at Isabella. "Your daughter is very direct. She gets that from me." A ghost of a smile touched his lips, transforming his face for a brief moment into something almost human, almost warm. "Isabella's mother passed away 2 years ago." "I'm so sorry," Maya said automatically, and meant it. She knew that kind of loss. Her own mother had died when Maya was 12. "Cancer," Isabella supplied matter-of-factly, though her small hand tightened around Maya's. "Daddy says she's watching me from heaven, but I can't see her, and I really need a mommy here on Earth because there are things I can't talk to Daddy about, Like what? Maya asked gently. Like how I'm going to start kindergarten next month and all the other girls talk about their mommies. And when I say my mommy died, they get quiet and weird. And like how I don't know how to braid hair. And Daddy tries, but he makes it all lumpy. Isabella looked up at Maya with devastating earnestness. And like how sometimes I'm scared at night and I want someone soft to hug me. And Daddy's hugs are nice, but they're not mommy hugs. Maya's heart cracked a little. She glanced at Vincent and saw something raw flash across his face before he masked it again. I understand this is highly irregular, Vincent said, his voice carefully controlled. My daughter has become convinced that she needs a mother figure. I've hired nannies, but Isabella has rejected them all. 7, Isabella said proudly. I made 7 nannies quit. Yes, thank you for that reminder, Vincent said dryly. I've tried to explain that finding a mother is not like shopping for a new toy, but she's persistent. I'm 5.5, Isabella announced. I'm old enough to know what I want. Maya couldn't help but smile. You certainly seem to know your mind. So will you be my mommy? Isabella asked again, those enormous eyes pleading. Please, I'll be very good. I promise. Sweetie, it's not that simple, Maya began. But Vincent interrupted. I have a proposition for you, Miss Martinez. He leaned forward slightly, and Maya caught the scent of expensive cologne, mixed with something darker, more dangerous. I'm willing to pay you $50,000 to spend time with my daughter. 3 months. You would live in my home, act as her companion and caregiver, and provide the maternal presence she seems to desperately need. Maya's jaw dropped. 50,000? That's insane. I'm aware it's an unusual offer, but I'm a wealthy man, and my daughter's happiness is worth any price. His eyes bored into hers. I can tell you're kind. The way you spoke to Isabella, the way you didn't immediately pull away or treat her like she was being ridiculous, that tells me something about your character. You don't know anything about me, Maya protested. I could be a terrible person. I could be dangerous. Something dark and amused flickered in Vincent's expression. Miss Martinez, I assure you, in any room we're both in, I'm the dangerous one. But I'm an excellent judge of character, and my instincts about people are rarely wrong. He pulled a business card from his pocket and slid it across the table. Think about it. If you're interested, call that number before the end of the week. Maya picked up the card. It was heavy, expensive cardstock, with just a phone number embossed in silver. No name, no company, nothing. What exactly do you do, mister? Moretti? She asked, suspicious. Import and export, he said smoothly. Too smoothly. Various business ventures, nothing that would concern you. That was a non-answer if Maya had ever heard one, but before she could press, Isabella threw her arms around Maya's waist. Please say yes, the little girl whispered. Please. I've been wishing for you every night. And just like that, Maya's resolve crumbled a little. You're out of your mind, Rosa declared, flipping a pancake with more force than necessary. $50,000? Nobody offers that kind of money for childcare unless they're up to something shady. Maya sat at the counter of Rosie's diner after her shift, nursing a cup of coffee and turning Vincent's card over and over in her hands. She told Rosa everything, and her friend/boss was not impressed. Maybe he's just really rich and really desperate, Maya offered weakly. Or maybe he's a drug dealer, or a kidnapper, or a serial killer who needs someone to watch his kid while he's out murdering people. Rosa pointed her spatula at Maya. You watch too many romantic movies, mija. Real life doesn't work like this. I know, Maya sighed. But you should have seen his daughter, Rosa. She was so sweet and so sad. And when she looked at me with those big eyes. Every con artist knows that kids are the best bait, Rosa warned, but her expression softened. I know you have a soft heart, Maya. That's what I love about you. But that's also what's going to get you in trouble. Maya knew Rosa was right. The smart thing would be to throw away the card and forget the whole bizarre encounter. She had her life here, small and unremarkable, but safe. She had her apartment, her job, her routine. She had her online college classes that she took at night, slowly working toward a degree in early childhood education. But she also had student loans, credit card debt from her father's medical bills before he died last year, an eviction notice sitting on her kitchen counter because she'd been late on rent 2 months in a row. $50,000 could change everything. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, Maya said. I'm just saying, maybe I should at least call and find out more. Rosa crossed her arms. If you do this, I'm writing down his license plate number, getting his address, and telling the police exactly where to look when you disappear. Deal, Maya agreed with a small smile. That night, lying in her cramped studio apartment, Maya stared at the card on her nightstand. The sodium streetlight outside her window cast orange shadows across the ceiling, and she could hear her neighbors fighting through the thin walls. She thought about Isabella's desperate plea, about the loneliness in those young eyes. Maya knew what it was like to grow up without a mother. She remembered the ache of it, the way she'd watched other girls with their moms, and felt like she was missing some essential piece of herself. Her father had tried his best, but there were things, so many things, that he couldn't understand or provide. If she could spare Isabella some of that pain, even temporarily, wasn't that worth considering? Before she could second-guess herself, Maya grabbed her phone and dialed the number on the card. It rang once, twice. Miss Martinez. Vincent's voice was smooth, unsurprised, like he'd been expecting her call. I'm pleased to hear from you. I have questions, Maya said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. A lot of questions. Of course. Let's meet tomorrow for lunch. I'll have my driver pick you up from the diner at noon. I can drive myself if you give me an address. I'd prefer to send a car. Safety reasons. The way he said it made it clear this wasn't negotiable. Is noon convenient? Maya swallowed. This was probably a terrible idea. Yes, noon is fine. Excellent. Wear something comfortable. Isabella will be with me, and she's already chosen 14 different outfits to impress you. Despite herself, Maya smiled. Tell her anything she wears will be perfect. There was a pause, and when Vincent spoke again, his voice had lost some of its cold formality. She'll be happy to hear that. Until tomorrow, Miss Martinez. He hung up before Maya could respond. She set down her phone and stared at the water stain on her ceiling, wondering what she'd just gotten herself into. The car that picked Maya up was a sleek black Mercedes with windows so tinted she couldn't see inside. The driver was a mountain of a man named Marco, who opened the door for her with a slight bow and spoke exactly 3 words during the entire 20-minute drive. Seatbelt, please, miss. They left the city behind, winding through increasingly affluent neighborhoods until they reached a private road lined with oak trees. At the end of that road sat a mansion that made Maya's jaw drop. It wasn't just a house. It was an estate. 3 stories of cream-colored stone, with elegant columns and tall windows that sparkled in the sunlight. Manicured gardens spread out on either side, and a fountain bubbled in the circular driveway where the Mercedes came to a smooth stop. Holy, Maya caught herself. This is where they live. Marco's lips twitched in what might have been amusement. Yes, miss. Before Maya could fully process the opulence, the massive front door flew open and Isabella came running out, her dark curls bouncing. You came! You came! The little girl crashed into Maya's legs with a hug. I told Daddy you would come, and he said maybe, but I knew you would. Bella, give Miss Martinez room to breathe, Vincent said from the doorway. He'd traded his suit for dark slacks and a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing surprisingly strong forearms. Somehow, he looked even more dangerous in casual clothes. It's okay, Maya said, returning Isabella's hug. And please, both of you, call me Maya. Maya? Isabella tested the name, then beamed. That's a princess name. I don't know about that. Maya laughed, as Isabella grabbed her hand and tugged her toward the house. It is. There's a Princess Maya in a book Daddy reads to me. She's brave and smart, and she saves the kingdom. The inside of the house was just as impressive as the outside. Marble floors, soaring ceilings, artwork that Maya suspected was original and expensive. But what caught her attention was how lived-in it felt despite the elegance. There were toys scattered near the grand staircase, a child's drawing taped to an antique mirror, a pair of small sneakers kicked off by the door. Isabella dragged her through a series of rooms, narrating enthusiastically. This is the living room, but we're not allowed to eat in here. This is the library. Daddy has like 1,000,000 books. This is the music room. I'm learning piano, but I'm not very good yet. And this is the kitchen. The kitchen was enormous, all stainless steel and marble countertops, with windows overlooking the gardens. A woman in her 60s was chopping vegetables, and she looked up with a warm smile when they entered. Ah, so this is the young lady Isabella hasn't stopped talking about. She wiped her hands on her apron and offered one to Maya. I'm Teresa. I've been with the family for 15 years. cooking and keeping this madhouse running. Nice to meet you, Maya said, shaking her hand. Teresa's grip was firm and assessing. She seems normal, Teresa said to Vincent, who had followed them into the kitchen. That's a point in her favor. I am standing right here, Maya protested. And we're being rude, Vincent acknowledged. Teresa, could you take Isabella to wash up for lunch? I need to speak with Maya privately. But Daddy, Isabella started to protest. 5 minutes, Principessa. Then you can have her back. The way Vincent looked at his daughter was so tender it made Maya's chest ache. Okay, Isabella agreed reluctantly. But only 5 minutes. I counted last time and you took 10. Once they were alone, Vincent gestured to the kitchen table. Please sit. Would you like something to drink? Water is fine. Maya sat, hyper-aware of how out of place she felt in this gleaming kitchen in her thrift store dress and worn ballet flats. Vincent poured 2 glasses of water from a filtered pitcher and sat across from her. Up close, in the natural light, Maya could see faint scars along his knuckles. Old scars, white and faded, but unmistakable. I imagine you have concerns, he said. You could say that. Maya took a sip of water to steady herself. First of all, what exactly would you expect from me? You said companion and caregiver, but what does that actually mean? Isabella needs someone to spend time with her, read to her, play with her, take her to the park, help her prepare for school, be present in the way that He paused, something vulnerable crossing his face, in the way that I can't be. I work long hours, and while I love my daughter more than my own life, I'm aware that I'm not equipped to give her everything she needs. What about the nannies you mentioned? Why didn't they work out? Vincent's expression turned wry. Isabella has very particular standards. The first one tried to enforce a strict schedule that made Bella feel like she was in boot camp. The second one spent more time on her phone than with Bella. The third one called her difficult within my hearing. His voice went cold on that last part. That woman left the same day. And the other 4? Various issues. The point is, Isabella doesn't want a nanny. She wants a mother, or at least someone who can approximate what she thinks a mother should be. He met Maya's eyes. I know this is asking a great deal. You'd essentially be putting your life on hold for 3 months. But I meant what I said about compensation. $50,000, plus room and board, plus a bonus of $10,000 at the end if Isabella is happy. $60,000 total. Maya tried not to let her shock show. There must be a catch, she said. This is too much money. The catch is that you'd be living in my home. You'd have limited privacy. You'd need to be available to Isabella whenever she needs you, which could mean irregular hours. And, he hesitated, there are aspects of my life and my work that you might observe, things that might make you uncomfortable. There it was, the confirmation that something wasn't quite right. What kind of things? Maya asked carefully. I have associates who visit. They can be intense. I occasionally need to take meetings at odd hours. There are security measures in place that might seem extreme. Vincent's gaze never wavered. I promise you that you would never be in danger, and neither would Isabella. But I won't lie and pretend I'm an ordinary businessman. Are you a criminal? Maya asked bluntly. Something that might have been respect flickered in his eyes. I operate in gray areas. I do things that law-abiding citizens would find objectionable. But I don't hurt innocents. I don't deal drugs. And I don't traffic people. My work is complicated, but it follows a code. It wasn't exactly reassuring, but it was honest. Maya appreciated that. If I say yes, she said slowly, I need some ground rules. First, I want full disclosure about anything that might affect Isabella's safety or mine. Second, if at any point I feel uncomfortable or unsafe, I can leave with no penalty. Third, Isabella comes first. Whatever is happening in your gray area work, it doesn't touch her. Agreed on all counts. Vincent extended his hand across the table. Do we have a deal, Maya Martinez? Maya looked at his hand. His scarred, dangerous hand. She thought about her eviction notice, her student loans, her dead-end job. She thought about Isabella's desperate eyes, and the way the little girl had hugged her like she was a life raft in a storm. Against every bit of common sense screaming at her to run, Maya reached out and shook his hand. We have a deal. His hand was warm and calloused, and when his fingers closed around hers, Maya felt a jolt of electricity that had nothing to do with fear. This was either the best decision she'd ever made, or the worst. Time would tell which. 3 days later, Maya stood in her studio apartment, looking at the 2 suitcases that held everything she was bringing to Vincent's house. It didn't amount to much. Some clothes, a few books, toiletries, and a photo album of her family. Everything else she was leaving behind, boxed up and stored in Rosa's garage. Last chance to back out, Rosa said from the doorway, arms crossed. I won't judge you. Well, I'll judge you a little, but I'll still love you. Maya smiled despite the nervousness coiling in her stomach. I have to do this. Because of the money? Because of Isabella? Maya zipped up the second suitcase. You should see her, Rosa. She's so young to have that much sadness in her eyes. If I can help her for even a few months. You and that bleeding heart. Rosa shook her head but came over to hug Maya tightly. You call me every day. And if anything feels wrong, I mean anything, you get out of there immediately. You hear me? I hear you. I'm serious, Maya. That man might be handsome as sin and rich as Midas, but there's something dangerous about him. I could feel it when he came into the diner. I know. Maya had felt it too. Vincent Moretti was like a beautiful blade, elegant and deadly, but he loved his daughter. That much was clear, and for now that was enough. The Mercedes arrived precisely at 2 o'clock. Marco loaded her suitcases into the trunk while Maya said goodbye to Rosa one more time. 3 months, Rosa said. Then you come back and tell me everything. Promise? Promise. The drive to the estate felt shorter this time, probably because Maya spent it rehearsing her decision in her head, trying to convince herself she wasn't making a monumental mistake. Isabella was waiting on the front steps when they arrived, practically vibrating with excitement. You're here! You're really here! This isn't a dream! It's not a dream, Maya confirmed, catching the little girl as she launched herself into another enthusiastic hug. I helped Teresa get your room ready. Well, I helped a little bit. Mostly I picked flowers for the vase. Do you like flowers? I like daisies. And roses. But not the red ones, they look like they're bleeding. Pink roses are better. Maya laughed, allowing herself to be pulled into the house. Vincent was standing in the foyer, and something in his expression relaxed when he saw her. I wasn't entirely certain you'd come, he admitted. I keep my promises, Maya said. I'm learning that about you. He gestured toward the staircase. Let me show you to your room. They climbed to the second floor, Isabella chattering the entire way about everything she wanted to show Maya, all the games they could play, and how she'd already introduced Maya to her stuffed animals via a photo she'd drawn. This is the family wing, Vincent explained as they walked down a hallway lined with plush carpet. My room is there at the end. Isabella's room is here. He paused by a door painted pale purple with a sign that said Princess Bella's Castle in glittery letters. And your room is here, directly across from hers. He opened the door to reveal a bedroom that was bigger than Maya's entire apartment. A massive 4-poster bed dominated the space, covered in cream-colored linens that looked impossibly soft. French doors led to a private balcony overlooking the gardens. There was an antique dresser, a writing desk by the window, and a door that presumably led to a private bathroom. I can't. Maya couldn't find words. I hope it's acceptable, Vincent said, and he actually sounded uncertain. Teresa chose most of the furnishings, but if there's anything you'd like changed... It's perfect, Maya interrupted. It's the most beautiful room I've ever seen. Isabella tugged on her hand. Do you want to see my room? It has a canopy bed and a reading nook and a whole closet just for dress-up clothes. I'd love to see it. Give Maya some time to settle in first, Vincent said gently. She just arrived. But, Bella, one word, but it carried gentle authority. Isabella's shoulders slumped, but she nodded. Okay, I'll be in my room when you're ready. She looked up at Maya with those enormous eyes. You're not going to leave, right? I'm not going to leave, Maya promised, and meant it. Once Isabella had reluctantly departed, Vincent lingered in the doorway. I appreciate you being here, truly. I know this is unusual. That's putting it mildly. Maya set her purse on the bed. But I meant what I said. I keep my promises. For the next 3 months, I'm here for Isabella. Just for Isabella? The question was quiet, almost casual. But there was something underneath it, something that made Maya's pulse quicken. That's what you hired me for, she said carefully. Yes, of course. Vincent straightened. Dinner is at 6. We usually eat in the dining room, but Bella prefers the kitchen. More casual. Teresa is making her specialty, chicken parmesan. I hope that's acceptable. Sounds wonderful. He nodded and turned to leave, then paused. Maya? Yes? Thank you. for seeing past the surface, for giving Bella a chance to be happy. His voice was rough with emotion he didn't quite hide. It means more than you know. Before she could respond, he was gone, the door clicking softly shut behind him. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, which was indeed impossibly soft, and tried to process everything. She'd agreed to live in a mansion with a man who admitted to operating in legal gray areas and his heartbroken daughter. She'd walked away from her entire life for 3 months on what was essentially a stranger's promise. Either she was the bravest person in the world, or the most foolish. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. "Maya, are you settled? Can I show you my room now?" Isabella's hopeful voice through the door made Maya smile. "Come on in, sweetheart. I can't wait to see it." The door opened, and Isabella's face lit up like Christmas morning. Maybe this was crazy. Maybe it would all blow up in her face. But looking at that little girl's joy, Maya couldn't bring herself to regret her decision. Not yet, anyway. Dinner was simultaneously the most comfortable and uncomfortable experience of Maya's life. Comfortable, because Isabella was delightful, chattering about everything from her favorite cartoons to the elaborate story she was creating about a princess who saved dragons instead of being saved by them. Teresa served plates of chicken parmesan that made Maya want to weep with happiness. She'd been living on ramen and canned soup for months, and the warm kitchen felt more like a home than Maya's apartment ever had. Uncomfortable because Vincent sat across from her, and she could feel his gaze on her throughout the meal. Not in a creepy way, more like he was studying her, assessing, trying to figure out what he'd brought into his home. "Tell me about yourself, Maya," he said during a rare pause in Isabella's monologue. "Where are you from?" "Here, originally. Born and raised in the city." Maya cut her chicken into smaller pieces. "My dad was a mechanic. My mom was a teacher before she got sick." "Maya's mommy went to heaven too," Isabella said matter-of-factly. "So she understands about missing mommies." Vincent's expression softened. "I'm sorry for your loss. How old were you?" 12. Breast cancer. The old pain was still there, but dulled by time. My dad raised me on his own after that. He did his best. "And your father?" "Died last year. Heart attack." Maya met his eyes. "So I understand what it's like for both of you. Losing someone important. Trying to figure out how to keep going." Something passed between them in that moment. Recognition. Shared understanding. "That's why you're perfect," Isabella declared. "You get it. You're not just pretending to understand like some of the grown-ups do." After dinner, Isabella insisted on showing Maya her room, which was indeed a little girl's dream. The canopy bed was draped in gauzy pink fabric. The reading nook had more pillows than Maya had ever seen in one place. The dress-up closet exploded with princess gowns, fairy wings, and costume jewelry. "This is amazing," Maya said honestly. "When I was your age, I would have thought I'd died and gone to heaven if I had a room like this." "Really?" Isabella bounced on her bed. "What was your room like?" "Small. I shared it with my dad after my mom died because we had to downsize to a cheaper apartment. But I had glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, and that always made me happy." Isabella's eyes widened. "Can we get glow-in-the-dark stars for my ceiling?" "We can ask your dad." "Ask me what?" Vincent appeared in the doorway, and Maya wondered how someone so large could move so quietly. Maya had glow-in-the-dark stars in her room when she was little. "Can I have some?" "I don't see why not." Vincent leaned against the doorframe, and Maya tried not to notice how the position emphasized his broad shoulders. "We can order some tomorrow." "Thank you, Daddy." Isabella jumped off the bed to hug him, and the tenderness on Vincent's face when he hugged his daughter back made Maya's heart squeeze. "All right, Principessa. It's almost bedtime. Why don't you show Maya your bathroom, then get into your pajamas?" The bathroom was, predictably, also perfect. Child-sized fixtures, a rubber duck collection that could rival a toy store, and a shelf full of bath toys and bubble soaps. "I hate washing my hair," Isabella confided as she led Maya back to the bedroom. "The soap gets in my eyes." "I have a trick for that," Maya said. "I'll show you tomorrow during bath time if that's okay with your dad." "Bath time is at 7, Vincent confirmed. He'd moved to sit on the edge of Isabella's bed. "Though I should warn you, Bella views it as an opportunity for aquatic warfare." "I do not," Isabella protested, giggling. "That was only with Nanny Margaret, and she deserved it because she was mean. You flooded the entire bathroom. She said my singing was too loud." Isabella turned to Maya. "Do you think singing in the bath is too loud?" "I think singing anywhere is wonderful," Maya assured her. Vincent caught her eye over Isabella's head and mouthed, "Thank you." Once Isabella was in her pajamas, pink ones covered in stars, Vincent tucked her into bed while Maya stood awkwardly near the door, not sure if she should stay or go. "Story time," Isabella announced. "Maya, you have to stay for story time. It's the best part. I don't want to intrude on your routine with your dad. Please?" Isabella patched her face into such exaggerated hopefulness that both adults laughed. "You might as well give in now," Vincent advised. Bella has weaponized those eyes to devastating effect. So Maya found herself sitting on one side of Isabella's bed, while Vincent sat on the other, and he read from a worn copy of The Princess and the Dragon. His voice changed for different characters: gruff for the dragon, high and imperious for the villain, brave and determined for the princess. Isabella knew parts by heart and recited them along with him. It was painfully intimate, this glimpse into their private ritual. Maya felt like an intruder, but also deeply honored to be included. "The end?" Vincent closed the book. "Time to sleep, Bella. One more story?" "Nice try. We had that debate already, remember? I won. You always win. That's because I'm bigger than you." He kissed her forehead. "Sweet dreams, Principessa." "Maya hasn't kissed me goodnight," Isabella pointed out. Maya's heart melted completely. "May I?" At Isabella's enthusiastic nod, Maya leaned down and kissed the little girl's forehead. "Sweet dreams, sweetheart. You smell nice," Isabella murmured, already drowsy. "Like cinnamon and sunshine. You smell nice too, like strawberry shampoo." "That's because it is strawberry shampoo." Isabella's eyes were drifting closed. "I'm glad you're here, Maya. Really, really glad. I'm glad I'm here too." Vincent flicked off the main light, leaving only a nightlight shaped like a crescent moon casting soft shadows. He and Maya slipped out of the room, pulling the door mostly closed but leaving it cracked open. In the hallway, Vincent leaned against the wall and exhaled. Day 1, successful. Only 90-some to go. "She's wonderful," Maya said. "Truly." "She is." He smiled, and it transformed his entire face. "I might be biased, but I think she's the best thing that ever happened to me." "You're definitely biased, but also correct." They stood in the soft light of the hallway, and Maya became aware of how close they were standing, how she could see the faint stubble on his jaw, the silver threads just starting in his dark hair, how his eyes were more amber than brown in this light. "I should let you rest," Vincent said quietly. "Tomorrow will be a long day. Bella has already planned about 40 different activities. I'm looking forward to it." He nodded, but didn't move. "Maya, I want you to know, whatever you might see or hear in this house, whatever you might learn about me and my work, Isabella is protected from all of it. She knows nothing about what I do. To her, I'm just her father who works too much. I intend to keep it that way. I understand." "Do you?" His gaze intensified. "Because once you're truly part of this household, there's no unseeing things, no unknowing what you know. I need to be sure you can handle that." Maya lifted her chin. "I'm stronger than I look, Mr. Moretti." "Vincent," he corrected. "And I'm beginning to see that." He pushed off the wall. "Good night, Maya." "Good night, Vincent." She watched him walk down the hallway to his own room, his movements fluid and controlled. When his door clicked shut, Maya finally released the breath she'd been holding. She slipped into her own room and closed the door, leaning against it. The bed looked impossibly inviting, and she was exhausted from the emotional whiplash of the day. But before she could collapse, her phone buzzed with a text from Rosa. "Still alive? Or should I call the police?" Maya smiled and typed back, "Still alive. Isabella is adorable. The house is insane. I'll call you tomorrow with details." "And the father?" Maya stared at that question for a long moment, thinking about Vincent's scarred hands and careful smiles, the way he looked at his daughter like she was his entire world, the dangerous edge that never quite left his eyes. "Complicated," she finally typed. "That's what I was afraid of. Be careful, Mija." "I will. Promise." Maya changed into pajamas and climbed into bed. The sheets were softer than anything she'd ever felt, and the mattress seemed to cradle her perfectly. Through the walls, she could hear the faint sound of Isabella's music box playing a lullaby. She'd been here less than a day, but already this place felt more like home than anywhere she'd lived in years. That should have comforted her. Instead, it terrified her. The first week passed in a blur of activity. Maya quickly learned that Isabella had the energy of a small tornado, and the imagination to match. They spent mornings in the garden, afternoons doing art projects that inevitably ended with paint everywhere, and evenings reading stories or watching carefully selected movies. Vincent was often absent during the day, disappearing into his office on the third floor, or leaving the estate entirely for mysterious meetings. But he always returned for dinner, and he always made time for Isabella's bedtime routine. Maya began to learn the rhythms of the household. Teresa ruled the kitchen with warmth and efficiency, often recruiting Maya to help with cooking, while Isabella helped by stealing ingredients and chattering nonstop. Marco, the driver, turned out to have a dry sense of humor and a soft spot for Isabella. There were other staff members, a groundskeeper named Tom, a housekeeper named Maria who came 3 times a week, but they moved through the house like ghosts, present but unobtrusive. And then there were the other men. The first time Maya encountered Vincent's associates, she was in the garden with Isabella, having a tea party with stuffed animals, when 3 large men in expensive suits walked past the garden gate. They didn't look like businessmen. They looked like enforcers. Isabella waved cheerfully. "Hi, Uncle Luca. Hi, Uncle Rico. Hi, Uncle Sal." The men's hard expressions softened. The one Isabella called Uncle Luca, a mountain of a man with a shaved head and a scar through one eyebrow, actually waved back. "Hey, princess? Having a tea party?" "Yes. This is Maya. She's my new friend." "Maya. Those are Daddy's work friends." "Ma'am." Luca nodded to Maya with surprising politeness before the 3 continued toward the house. "They look scary, but they're nice," Isabella confided, once they were out of earshot. "Uncle Luca gives me piggyback rides, and Uncle Rico always has candy in his pockets." Maya tried to reconcile the image of that intimidating man giving a child piggyback rides and failed. That evening, after Isabella was in bed, Maya found Vincent in his study, a room she hadn't been in before. The door was open, and he was standing by the window with a glass of what looked like whiskey, staring out at the darkened grounds. "Can I come in?" she asked quietly. He turned, surprise flickering across his face. "Of course. Is everything all right? Is Bella—" "She's fine, sleeping like an angel." Maya stepped into the room, taking in the wall of books, the massive desk covered with papers, the subtle scent of leather and that particular cologne he wore. "I just wanted to check in. We've been here a week, and I feel like we haven't really talked since that first day. You've been busy with Isabella. That's what I hired you for." But he gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Please sit. Would you like a drink?" "No, thank you." Maya sat, folding her hands in her lap. "I met some of your associates today. Luca, Rico, and Sal." Vincent's expression went carefully neutral. "And? Isabella seems to adore them. She called them her uncles. They've known her since she was born. They're—" He paused, choosing words carefully. "Loyal. Trustworthy. They'd die before they let anything happen to her. They're intimidating. They're meant to be." Vincent took a sip of his whiskey. "Maya, I'm not going to lie to you. The men who work for me are dangerous. They do dangerous things. But around Bella, they're gentlemen. They know the rules." "What kind of rules?" "No weapons visible in the house. No business discussions where she might overhear. No violence, no matter what. This estate is neutral ground. A sanctuary." He met her eyes. "For all of us." Maya processed that. "What exactly do you do, Vincent? And don't say import-export. I know that's code for something." He was quiet for a long moment, studying her. Then he set down his glass and leaned against his desk. "I run an organization. We handle various operations, some legal, some not. Protection services, dispute resolution, resource redistribution." "You're a crime boss," Maya said flatly. "I prefer entrepreneur with flexible ethics. But yes, essentially." He watched her carefully, as if waiting for her to bolt. "Does that change things?" "It should." Maya knew it should. She should be running for the door, calling the police, getting as far away from this house as possible. But all she could think about was Isabella's laugh that afternoon, when they'd blown bubbles in the garden. The way the little girl had fallen asleep holding Maya's hand during story time. How Vincent looked at his daughter with such fierce, protective love. "Are you going to hurt anyone while I'm here?" she asked. "I'll try very hard not to." "That's not reassuring. It's honest." Vincent moved closer, and Maya caught herself holding her breath. "I won't pretend to be someone I'm not. I've done terrible things, Maya. I'll probably do more terrible things before I die. But I keep my family separate from that world. Always. And now that includes you. I'm not your family. I'm an employee. Something flickered in his eyes. Disappointment? Right. Of course. An awkward silence stretched between them. Maya stood. I should go. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. Are we? She considered. I don't know. But I promised Isabella 3 months, and I keep my promises. So I guess we'll figure it out as we go. Fair enough. He walked her to the door. Maya, thank you. For staying. For not running when you had every reason to. Don't thank me yet. 3 months is a long time. His smile was small but genuine. Indeed it is. By the second week, Maya had fallen into a comfortable routine. Mornings were for outdoor activities. The estate had extensive grounds, and Isabella loved exploring. They'd discovered a small pond with ducks, a grove of apple trees perfect for climbing, and a gazebo where they often had lunch. Afternoons were quieter. Isabella would practice piano. She was actually quite good despite her protests otherwise. Or they'd work on the kindergarten prep materials Vincent had provided. Maya quickly realized that Isabella was incredibly bright, already reading at a second-grade level, and doing math that seemed advanced for her age. Mama used to teach me, Isabella explained one afternoon, as they worked through addition problems. Before she got sick, she said learning was the most important thing in the world. Your mama was very smart, Maya said gently. She was. Daddy says I have her brain and his stubborn. Isabella grinned. Is that good or bad? I think it's perfect. The evening rituals were Maya's favorite. Bath time was indeed a water war, but Maya didn't mind getting soaked if it meant hearing Isabella's delighted laughter. Dinner with Vincent, Teresa, and sometimes various uncles was always interesting. And bedtime stories had become a sacred time when the three of them would pile onto Isabella's bed and escape into fairy tales. But as comfortable as Maya was becoming with Isabella, things with Vincent were getting more complicated. She'd catch him watching her sometimes, not in a creepy way, but with an intensity that made her skin tingle. He'd started joining them for afternoon activities when his schedule allowed, and Maya found herself hyper-aware of his presence. The way he'd push up his sleeves when he helped Isabella with her art projects, how his laugh sounded when Isabella told a particularly funny story, the gentle patience he showed when his daughter was having a difficult moment. It didn't help that he was unfairly attractive. Maya had noticed it that first day, but living in close quarters made it impossible to ignore. The man looked like he should be on a movie screen, not running a criminal organization. You're staring, Teresa said one afternoon, making Maya jump. They were in the kitchen, supposedly making cookies while Isabella napped. Through the window, they could see Vincent on the grounds with Luca and another man, deep in conversation. I'm not staring, Maya protested, turning back to the cookie dough with probably too much focus. Honey, I've been with this family long enough to recognize that look. Teresa's tone was kind but knowing. Be careful. I'm not. There's nothing to be careful about. He's my employer. I'm here for Isabella. Keep telling yourself that. Teresa patted her shoulder. But just so you know, he's been staring at you too. Maya's heart did an unwelcome flip. You're imagining things. I've known that boy since he was younger than Isabella. I know when he's interested in someone. Teresa began scooping cookie dough onto a baking sheet. And he hasn't looked at anyone the way he looks at you since his wife, Maya finished quietly. Since Maria. Yes. Teresa's expression grew sad. She was lovely, kind, patient, perfect for him. When she died, something in Vincent died too. He's been going through the motions, taking care of Bella and running his business. But the light went out of him. That's heartbreaking. It is, which is why I'm glad you're here. I've seen more life in him these past 2 weeks than I have in 2 years. Teresa met Maya's eyes. But his world is dangerous, Maya. If you care about him, or if you're starting to, you need to be aware of what you're getting into. I'm not getting into anything, Maya insisted. I'm here for Isabella. That's all. But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't entirely true anymore. That night, after Isabella was asleep, Maya found herself unable to settle. She paced her room for a while, then decided to go down to the kitchen for some warm milk, a remedy her mother used to make when Maya couldn't sleep. The house was quiet, just the ticking of various clocks and the distant hum of the security system Vincent had mentioned. Maya padded down the stairs in her pajamas and robe, not bothering with lights since moonlight flooded through the tall windows. She was halfway across the main foyer when she heard voices. Male voices, low and tense, coming from Vincent's study. Maya knew she should go back upstairs. This was none of her business. But something in the tone made her pause. Can't keep letting them push into our territory, Vincent. They're testing you. That was Luca's gravelly voice. I'm aware. Vincent sounded tired. But starting a war isn't the answer. We have other ways to handle this. They killed 2 of our guys last week. That requires a response. It requires strategy, not bloodshed. A pause. I have Isabella to think about. I can't afford to escalate this into something that might put her at risk. All due respect, boss. But they're not going to stop because you have a kid. They're going to see it as weakness. Let them. Vincent's voice went cold. Underestimating me would be the last mistake they ever make. Maya's hand was on the banister, about to retreat upstairs, when a floorboard creaked under her foot. The conversation stopped abruptly. Who's there? Vincent's voice was sharp, dangerous. It's just me, Maya called out quickly. I couldn't sleep. I was going to get some milk. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. Silence. Then, come here, Maya. It wasn't a request. With her heart hammering, Maya walked to the study. The door was open now, and Vincent stood framed in it, his expression unreadable. Behind him, she could see Luca and another man she recognized as Rico. Gentlemen, we'll continue this tomorrow, Vincent said, without looking away from Maya. Please see yourselves out. Luca and Rico exchanged glances, but nodded. Boss, Luca said, then to Maya. Ma'am. They left through a side door, and suddenly Maya was alone with Vincent in his study, and the air felt charged with something she couldn't name. How much did you hear? He asked quietly. Enough to know that something dangerous is happening, that people died. Maya wrapped her arms around herself. You said Isabella would be safe. You promised. And she is. She will be. Vincent stepped closer. Maya, what you overheard is exactly the kind of thing I was afraid of. She met his eyes. I knew you weren't a regular businessman, Vincent. I knew there would be complications. But hearing about people dying, about potential wars, you're scared. Yes, of course I'm scared. The words burst out of her. I care about Isabella. I care about... She stopped herself. I don't want anything to happen to her. Or to you. Vincent went very still. Or to me. Maya hadn't meant to say that, but there it was, hanging in the air between them. You're her father, she said weakly. If something happened to you, she'd be devastated. Is that the only reason you care? He was close now, so close she could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. Vincent. Because I need to know, Maya. I need to know if I'm imagining this thing between us, or if you feel it too. Her breath caught. This is a bad idea. I work for you. I'm here for your daughter. I know all the reasons why this is wrong. His hand came up to cup her cheek, and Maya's eyes fluttered closed at the contact. But I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since the moment you crouched down to talk to Bella in that diner. Since you looked at my daughter like she mattered. Since you looked at me like I was more than the monster everyone else sees. You're not a monster, Maya whispered. You don't know what I've done. I know you love your daughter. I know you're trying to protect her. I know you read her bedtime stories with different voices and let her paint your nails pink last Tuesday. Maya opened her eyes. I know enough. Maya. Her name was almost a prayer on his lips. She should step back. Should remember all the reasons this was complicated and dangerous and wrong. Instead, she leaned into his touch. This is a bad idea, she repeated, but there was no conviction in her voice. Terrible idea, Vincent agreed. We should stop. We absolutely should. Neither of them moved. And then Vincent was kissing her, and Maya was kissing him back. And all the logical objections in the world couldn't compete with the way her body came alive under his touch. His lips were surprisingly soft, his kiss both gentle and demanding. And when Maya's hands found their way into his hair, he made a low sound in his throat that sent heat pooling in her belly. They broke apart, both breathing hard. We can't do this, Maya said, even as her fingers remained tangled in his hair. I know. Isabella complicates everything. I know. Vincent rested his forehead against hers. But I can't seem to care right now. Vincent, this is dangerous in more ways than one. Everything about me is dangerous, Maya. You knew that when you came here. His thumb traced her lower lip and she shivered. But I promise you, I swear on Bella's life, I will never let any of my world touch you. Either of you. You can't promise that. Not really. Watch me. The intensity in his eyes stole her breath. I've built an empire on keeping my promises, Maya. I don't break them. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. We need to slow down, she said, finally finding some semblance of sense. We need to think about this. You're right, but he didn't let go of her. I should go back to my room. You should. Still, neither moved. Finally, Maya forced herself to step back, breaking the contact. Good night, Vincent. Good night, Maya. His voice was rough, and his eyes held promises that made her knees weak. Maya fled to her room, her heart racing, her lips still tingling from his kiss. She'd come here for Isabella. She'd promised herself she wouldn't get involved, wouldn't get attached to anyone except the little girl who needed her. But as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling and touching her lips, Maya had to admit the truth. She was already involved, already attached, and she had no idea what to do about it. The next morning was awkward. Maya came down to breakfast to find Vincent already at the table with Isabella, looking far more composed than Maya felt. Their eyes met briefly, and heat flashed between them before they both looked away. If Isabella noticed anything odd, she didn't mention it. She was too excited about her upcoming first day of kindergarten, which was now just 2 weeks away. Maya, will you help me pick out my first day outfit? Isabella asked between bites of pancake. It has to be perfect. Of course, sweetheart. And maybe we can practice walking to the classroom, so I don't get nervous. We can practice anything you want. Vincent watched this exchange with an expression Maya couldn't read. When Isabella ran off to brush her teeth, he spoke quietly. About last night. Let's not, Maya interrupted quickly. Let's just forget it happened. Can you do that? His gaze was penetrating. Because I can't. Before Maya could respond, Teresa bustled in with more coffee, and the moment was broken. The next few days were tense. Maya threw herself into kindergarten preparation with Isabella, avoiding Vincent as much as possible, which wasn't easy in a house they all shared, but she managed it. Until the afternoon, everything changed. Maya and Isabella were in the garden, practicing writing the alphabet in a notebook, when Marco appeared at the garden gate with an expression that made Maya's stomach drop. Miss Martinez, Mr. Moretti needs you inside. Now. Is everything okay? Please, just come. Marco's eyes flicked to Isabella. Princess, why don't you come with me? Uncle Luca wants to show you something in the garage. Really? What is it? It's a surprise. Come on. Isabella hopped up eagerly, but Maya caught the look Marco gave her over the little girl's head. Something was very wrong. Maya hurried into the house, finding Vincent in his study. His expression was thunderous, and he was on the phone, speaking in rapid Italian that sounded harsh and angry. When he saw Maya, he ended the call. Close the door. She did, her hands trembling slightly. What's wrong? We have a problem. Vincent pulled out his phone and showed her a photo. It was grainy, taken from a distance, but unmistakable. Maya and Isabella in the garden, from this very afternoon. I don't understand. This was sent to me an hour ago, from the Castellano family. They're rivals, and they're sending a message. Vincent's jaw was tight. They know about you. They know about Isabella, and they're threatening both of you to get to me. Maya's blood ran cold. What kind of threat? The kind that means you can't stay here anymore. The words seemed to pain him. I'm having Marco drive you back to the city tonight. I'll pay you for the full 3 months, plus a substantial bonus. But you need to leave. What? No. The objection burst out of her. I'm not leaving, Isabella. I promised her, and I'm telling you that you're in danger. Vincent's voice rose. Then he visibly controlled himself. Maya, these people don't make idle threats. They'll hurt you to hurt me. I won't allow that. What about Isabella? Is she safe? They won't touch Bella. There are rules, even in my world. Children are off limits. But he didn't sound as certain as his words suggested. But you're not family. You're not protected by those rules. They see you as leverage. Maya's mind raced. So you're just going to send me away? What are you going to tell Isabella? That something came up. That you had to leave. She'll be upset, but she'll recover. Vincent wouldn't meet her eyes. It's better than the alternative. The alternative being what? Me getting hurt? Or me staying and you having to actually deal with whatever this is between us? His head snapped up. Don't. Don't what? Don't call you out on using this threat as an excuse to push me away because last night scared you? Last night terrified me, Vincent admitted roughly. Because I can't care about you, Maya. I can't. Everyone I love becomes a target, and I won't do that to you. Too late. Maya moved closer. I already care. About you, about Isabella, about this whole complicated mess. And I'm not running because some rival family decided to rattle your cage. You don't understand what these people are capable of. Then explain it to me. Maya was almost shouting now. Stop trying to protect me by pushing me away and actually talk to me. Tell me what we're really dealing with. Vincent stared at her for a long moment. Then he sank into his desk chair, suddenly looking exhausted. The Castellanos want my territory. They've been pushing for months, testing my boundaries, waiting for a weakness. And now they think they've found one. You. So what do? We don't do anything. I handle this, and you leave where you'll be safe. Isabella will be heartbroken. I know. The pain in his voice was raw, but better heartbroken than orphaned, because I was too selfish to send you away. Maya knelt in front of him, forcing him to look at her. Vincent, I'm not leaving. Not unless you can look me in the eye and tell me honestly that you feel nothing for me. That last night meant nothing. He closed his eyes. Maya, don't ask me to do this. Tell me it meant nothing. I can't. The words were torn from him. God help me, I can't. Then we find another way. Maya took his hands. We figure this out together. You don't have to face everything alone anymore. You don't know what you're saying. The danger. I understand the danger. I understand what your world is like. And I'm choosing to stay anyway. She squeezed his hands. Let me help. Let me be here for you and for Isabella. Let me be part of this family. Vincent's eyes opened, and the emotion in them stole her breath. You already are, he whispered. You already are. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. Maya felt him trembling, and realized with shock that this dangerous, powerful man was scared. Not for himself, but for her. We'll figure it out, she murmured into his shoulder. Together. If anything happened to you, it won't, because you won't let it. She pulled back to look at him. You're going to keep me safe, just like you keep Isabella safe. Right? Right, he agreed, though he still looked uncertain. But Maya, you need to understand something. If you stay, everything changes. You won't be able to leave the estate without security. You'll have to be constantly aware of your surroundings. Your entire life will revolve around safety protocols. I can handle that. And if the worst happens, if they do make a move, you'll have to trust me completely. Even if I tell you to do something that seems crazy or scary, I trust you. Do you? He searched her face. Even knowing what I am? What I've done? Maya thought about that. About the man who read bedtime stories with different voices, who painted his daughter's nails, who looked at Maya like she was something precious and terrifying all at once. I trust you, she repeated firmly. Now, what's our next move? Vincent's expression shifted, hardening into something coldly strategic. I need to send a message back to the Castellanos. Make it clear that you're under my protection and any threat against you is a declaration of war. How do you do that? Let me worry about the details. He stood, pulling her up with him. Right now, I need you to act normal around Bella. She can't know anything is wrong. Vincent. Please, Maya. For her sake. She nodded reluctantly. Okay, but you keep me in the loop. No more trying to protect me by keeping me in the dark. Deal. He cupped her face with both hands and kissed her forehead. I meant what I said. You're part of this family now, and I protect my family. Then that makes us a team. A very unusual team, Vincent said with a small smile. A criminal and a waitress. Former waitress, Maya corrected. I believe my current job title is Professional Daughter Appreciator and Crime Boss Worrier. His laugh was unexpected and genuine. I think that might be my new favorite job title. There was a knock on the door, and Luca poked his head in. Boss, we have a situation. The Castellano crew is making moves on the waterfront. Vincent's expression went cold again. I'll be right there. He turned to Maya. Go find Bella. Keep her happy and distracted. And Maya? Yes? Thank you. For staying. For being brave enough to stay. Thank you for letting me. As Maya left the study, she heard Vincent's voice shift into something hard and commanding, speaking rapid Italian with Luca. She understood none of the words, but the tone was clear. Vincent Moretti was going to war, and Maya had just chosen to stand by his side. The next 2 weeks were tense. Vincent disappeared for long hours, and when he was home, he was distracted. Maya caught glimpses of increased security, more men patrolling the grounds, cameras being installed in places they hadn't been before, Marco and several others accompanying them whenever they left the estate. But around Isabella, Vincent remained warm and present. He never missed bedtime stories. He showed up for piano practice. And when Isabella's first day of kindergarten arrived, he was there in a suit that probably cost more than most people's cars, looking nervous and proud in equal measure. "She's going to be fine," Maya assured him as they watched Isabella bounce excitedly in her new dress. "I know. It's just—" Vincent cleared his throat. "Maria should be here for this. She was so excited about Bella starting school." Maya squeezed his hand. "I think she is here, in a way." He looked at her gratefully. The school day was actually perfect. Isabella made friends immediately, no surprise there, and came home chattering about her teacher, Miss Jennifer, and a boy named Tommy who could count to 100. "Did you have fun?" Vincent asked, catching his daughter as she ran to him. "So much fun! And Miss Jennifer said my reading is really good. And Tommy shared his crayons with me." Isabella's face grew serious. "Daddy, some of the other girls asked about my mommy. I told them she's in heaven." Vincent's expression tightened. "And how did that make you feel?" "Sad. But then I told them I have Maya now, and that made me feel better." Isabella turned to Maya with those enormous eyes. "Is it okay if I tell people you're my almost mommy?" Maya's heart clenched. She glanced at Vincent, who was watching her intently. "Sweetheart, I'm not really your mommy, but you're like a mommy. You do mommy things. And you love me, right?" "I do love you. So much." "Then you're my almost mommy." Isabella said it with such conviction that Maya couldn't help but smile. "Then I'm honored to be your almost mommy." Isabella beamed and hugged them both, one arm around each of them. "See? We're a family." Over Isabella's head, Maya and Vincent's eyes met, and in that moment, something shifted. Some invisible line was crossed. They were a family. However unconventional, however complicated, however dangerous, they were a family. That night, after Isabella was asleep, Vincent found Maya on the balcony of her room. The night was clear, stars scattered across the dark sky like diamonds. "Beautiful night," he said softly, joining her at the railing. "It is." Maya leaned against him slightly. "Vincent, about what Isabella said. She's right, you know. You are like a mother to her." He turned to face her. "These past weeks, watching you with her, seeing how happy you make her. Maya, you've given her something I couldn't. You've helped her heal. You give her plenty. You're an amazing father. I try, but it's not the same as having a mother." He took her hand. "I know we said 3 months, but I need to ask, what happens at the end of that time?" Maya's heart raced. "What do you want to happen?" "I want you to stay, not as an employee, but as—" He seemed to struggle for words. "As part of our family. Really part of it. Vincent, I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. But I can't imagine this house without you anymore. Bella can't imagine it. And He cupped her face. "I'm falling for you, Maya. I tried not to. God knows I tried. But I can't stop it. I'm falling for you too," Maya admitted. "But your world, the danger, is being handled. The Castellanos won't be a problem much longer. I've made arrangements." His voice was cold when he spoke about it. "They've learned that threatening what's mine comes with consequences." Maya knew she probably didn't want to know the details. "And after them, there will always be something, won't there? Some new threat? Some new problem?" "Possibly. Probably." Vincent's honesty was brutal. "I can't promise you a safe, normal life, Maya. I can't promise that there won't be complications. But I can promise that I'll protect you with everything I have, that you'll never want for anything, that I'll love you and Isabella with every part of me." "Love?" Maya's breath caught. "Love," Vincent confirmed. "I love you, Maya Martinez. I loved you when you crouched down to talk to a strange little girl in a diner. I loved you when you stayed despite every reason to run. I loved you when you risked yourself to stay with us even when it got dangerous." He kissed her gently. "Marry me." Maya's head spun. That's crazy. We've only known each other a few weeks. 32 days, Vincent said. "I've counted every one. And in those 32 days, you've become essential to me, to us. So marry me, Maya. Be Isabella's mother. Be my wife. Be part of this strange, complicated, dangerous, beautiful family we're building." It was insane. Too fast, too much, too complicated. But looking into his eyes, feeling the warmth of his hands on her face, thinking about Isabella's joyful declaration that they were a family. Maya realized she didn't care about any of that. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I'll marry you." Vincent's smile was brilliant. He kissed her deeply, pouring all his emotion into it, and Maya kissed him back with equal fervor. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Vincent rested his forehead against hers. "Thank you," he murmured. "Thank you for taking a chance on us. Thank you for asking me to. Should we tell Bella tomorrow?" "Tomorrow," Maya agreed. "Let her have one more night of normal before we blow her mind." Vincent laughed, and the sound was free and happy in a way Maya had never heard from him before. "She's going to lose her mind," he predicted. "She's been asking me to marry you since week 1. "What?" Maya pulled back to stare at him. "She has? Every night. Daddy, when are you going to marry Maya? Daddy, Maya would be the best mommy. Daddy, if you don't marry her, I will when I grow up." Vincent's eyes danced with amusement. "That child has been playing matchmaker since the moment she met you." "She's 5.5, Maya laughed. "What does she know about matchmaking?" "Apparently more than both of us." Vincent pulled her close again, and they stood together on the balcony, wrapped in each other's arms, watching the stars. For the first time in years, Maya felt like she was exactly where she belonged. The next morning, Vincent and Maya decided to tell Isabella together over breakfast. They'd rehearsed what they'd say, keeping it age-appropriate, emphasizing that it was okay if she needed time to adjust, making sure she knew her mother would always be her mother. But Isabella, as usual, had her own ideas about how things should go. The moment she came down to breakfast and saw both of them sitting together, looking nervous, her eyes went wide. "Did you ask her?" Isabella squealed before either adult could speak. "Daddy, did you ask her?" Vincent blinked. "How did you—" "Uncle Luca told me yesterday that you bought a ring. He said it was really pretty." Isabella bounced on her toes. "So did you ask her? Did she say yes? Are you getting married? Is Maya going to be my real mommy now?" Maya and Vincent exchanged glances, caught completely off guard by a 5-year-old and loose-lipped security personnel. "I'm going to have words with Luca," Vincent muttered. "Don't be mad at Uncle Luca. He was excited." Isabella climbed into Maya's lap. "So, are you getting married?" Maya smoothed Isabella's curls back from her face. "How would you feel if we did get married? If I became your stepmother?" "I would feel amazing!" Isabella threw her arms around Maya's neck. "I would be the happiest girl in the whole world. I've been wishing for this every single night." "You have?" Maya's eyes misted. "Yes. Remember the first day when I asked you to be my mommy, and you said it was complicated?" Isabella pulled back to look at her seriously. "Well, now it's not complicated, because Daddy loves you, and you love Daddy, and you both love me, so we should definitely be a family." "It is a little more complicated than that, Princess," Vincent said gently. "Maya would be your stepmother, which means she'd be my mommy," Isabella interrupted firmly. "I know she's not my first mommy. I know my first mommy was special, and I'll always love her. But can't I have 2 mommies? One in heaven, and one here with me?" Maya's tears spilled over. "Oh, sweetheart. Yes, you can definitely have 2 mommies." "Then it's settled." Isabella looked at her father expectantly. "Daddy, where's the ring? You have to give her the ring." Vincent chuckled and pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. "I was planning a more romantic moment, but I should have known you'd want to be part of it." He opened the box to reveal a stunning ring, a sapphire surrounded by diamonds, delicate and beautiful, and somehow perfect for Maya. "It was Maria's," Vincent said softly. "She always said if I ever found love again, whoever that woman was should have this ring, because it meant I was serious, that I was ready to really move forward." He took the ring from the box. "Maya Martinez, will you marry me? Will you be Isabella's mother and my wife? Will you take on this complicated, sometimes dangerous, always chaotic life with us?" "Yes," Maya said through happy tears. 1,000 times yes. Vincent slipped the ring onto her finger, and Isabella clapped so hard her hands must have stung. "We're getting married," Isabella sang, dancing around the kitchen. "Maya's going to be my mommy. We're a real family now." Teresa emerged from the pantry, suspiciously misty-eyed. "About time," she said gruffly. "That child's been planning this wedding in her head for weeks. She's already picked out her flower girl dress." "You have?" Maya laughed. "Of course. It's purple with sparkles. Isabella grabbed both Maya's and Vincent's hands. And we need to have a big cake and flowers everywhere, and Uncle Luca has to walk me down the aisle because he promised, and— Slow down, Principessa, Vincent said, swinging her up into his arms. We'll plan everything together. All three of us. When's the wedding? Isabella demanded. Maya and Vincent looked at each other. They hadn't actually discussed that part. How about a month? Maya suggested. That gives us time to plan something nice, but not so long that we're waiting forever. A month? Isabella's eyes went wide. That's so far away. It'll go fast, Vincent promised. Besides, we need time to make it perfect. It's already perfect because we're together, Isabella said with the simple wisdom of children. Then she squirmed to get down. I have to go tell Mr. Fluffkins and Princess Sparkle and all my other stuffed animals. They're going to be so excited. She raced off toward the stairs, leaving the adults laughing in her wake. Well, Maya said, looking at the ring on her finger, that went better than expected. Did you doubt it would? Vincent pulled her close. That child has been orchestrating this since day one. She's very determined. Like her father. Vincent kissed her softly. Are you sure about this, Maya? Really sure? Because once we do this, there's no going back. You'll be tied to my world forever. I'm sure. Maya kissed him back. Besides, I'm already tied to your world. I was tied to it the moment Isabella asked me to be her mommy in that diner. Everything after that was just details. Important details, Vincent murmured against her lips. The best details. They were interrupted by Isabella's voice echoing down the stairs. Maya, come help me tell my stuffed animals. They need to hear it from both of us. Maya laughed and called back. Coming, sweetheart. She started toward the stairs, but Vincent caught her hand. I love you, he said. I know I told you last night, but I need you to hear it again. I love you, Maya. Thank you for giving us this chance. I love you too, Maya said, squeezing his hand. Now come on. We have some very important stuffed animals to inform about our engagement. Hand in hand, they climbed the stairs to Isabella's room, where an entire congregation of toys awaited the news. It was chaotic and ridiculous, and absolutely perfect, just like their new family. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Isabella took her role as unofficial wedding planner very seriously, presenting Maya with daily drawings of how she thought the ceremony should look. Most of them involved excessive amounts of flowers, at least 3 different types of cake, and in one memorable iteration, a dragon. Sweetheart, we can't have a dragon at the wedding, Maya explained gently, studying the crayon drawing. Why not? Dragons are cool. They are very cool, but they're also fictional. So, you could get someone in a dragon costume. Isabella was nothing if not persistent. Vincent, overhearing this from the doorway, chuckled. If my daughter wants a dragon at her mother's wedding, we'll get her a dragon. You're not helping, Maya told him, but she was smiling. I'm helping her dream big. Vincent crossed the room to look at the drawing. Though maybe instead of a fire-breathing dragon, we go with something slightly less likely to burn down the venue. Fine, Isabella sighed dramatically. But can I at least have a purple dress? You can have any color dress you want. Purple with sparkles? Purple with all the sparkles in the world. Isabella beamed and went back to her drawing with renewed enthusiasm. Later that evening, after Isabella was in bed, Vincent pulled Maya into his study. His expression was serious, and Maya felt a flutter of concern. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, but we need to discuss something. Vincent gestured for her to sit. The wedding is going to attract attention. From my associates, from other families, from people who might want to use the occasion to make a statement. What kind of statement? The violent kind. Vincent's voice was flat. I've already had 3 threats this week. Anonymous, but credible. People who aren't happy about me getting married, about bringing someone new into the family, about showing what they perceive as weakness. Maya's stomach nodded. Should we postpone? No, absolutely not. Vincent's tone was firm. We don't let them dictate our lives. But I need you to understand what the security will be like. The wedding will essentially be a fortress. Invited guests only, multiple checkpoints, armed guards at every entrance. It won't be the fairy tale wedding Isabella is drawing. I don't need a fairy tale. I just need you and her. I know, but I want to give you both more than an armed compound ceremony. Vincent ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. You deserve better than this, Maya. Better than a life where your wedding day requires tactical planning. Maya moved to stand in front of him. Vincent, look at me. When he did, she continued, I knew what I was getting into. Maybe not all the details, but I knew your life was complicated and dangerous. I chose it anyway. I chose you anyway. You shouldn't have to live like this. But I want to live like this. If it means living with you. She took his hands. Yes, the security is scary. Yes, the threats are terrifying. But you know what's more terrifying? A life without you and Isabella. That's what I can't handle. Everything else? We'll figure it out. Vincent pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. What did I do to deserve you? You had an adorable daughter who refused to take no for an answer, Maya said into his chest. Speaking of which, she's already planning our honeymoon. Oh, apparently we're going to Princess Land, which I think means Disney World, and we're staying in a castle, and there will be lots of ice cream. Vincent laughed. Well, we can't disappoint her. Though I should mention that for security reasons, our actual honeymoon will need to be somewhere private. Controlled. Do you own a private island by any chance? 2, actually. Maya pulled back to stare at him. You own 2 private islands? One in the Caribbean, one in the Mediterranean. Both fully staffed, both secure. He smiled at her expression. What? You thought the mansion was the extent of my real estate holdings? I don't know what I thought. I'm still getting used to the fact that I'm marrying someone who casually owns multiple properties like normal people own multiple pairs of shoes. You'll adjust. Vincent kissed her forehead. Besides, soon it'll be your real estate too. What's mine is yours, Maya. All of it. That's a lot of responsibility. You can handle it. You're stronger than you think. His expression grew serious again. But there's something else we need to discuss. Something important. The tone of his voice made Maya's pulse quicken. What? If something happens to me... Vincent, don't... Please, let me finish. This is important. Vincent cupped her face gently. If something happens to me, everything goes to you and Isabella. The estate, the businesses, all of it. Luca will help you manage things. He's loyal, and he loves Bella like she's his own. You can trust him. Nothing's going to happen to you. You don't know that. My life is dangerous, Maya. There are people who would kill me if they got the chance. He held her gaze steadily. I need to know that if the worst happens, you and Bella will be taken care of. That you'll be protected. Maya felt tears burning in her eyes. This is a really dark conversation for someone who's supposed to be planning a wedding. I know, but it needs to be said. Vincent wiped away a tear that escaped down her cheek. I've already updated my will. I've set up trusts for both of you. I've made arrangements with several legitimate businesses that will provide income regardless of what happens to my other operations. You'll never have to worry about money. I don't care about money. I care about you. Maya's voice broke. Please tell me you're being paranoid. Tell me you're not actually expecting something to happen. I'm being cautious. There's a difference. But his expression suggested he was more worried than he wanted to admit. The Castellano situation is resolved, but there are always other threats. Other families who might see a wedding as an opportunity. I just want you prepared. How do I prepare for potentially losing you? Maya asked quietly. By being strong. By taking care of our daughter. By living the life we're building together. Even if I'm not there to share all of it. Vincent pulled her close again. But I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't come to that. I have too much to live for now. They stood together in silence for a long moment, holding each other tight. Finally, Maya pulled back. Okay, we do the security measures. We take the precautions. We prepare for the worst. But we also believe in the best. We plan our wedding. We celebrate our love. And we build our family. Deal? Deal. Vincent smiled, though his eyes remained serious. You're remarkable, you know that? I'm just a waitress who happened to serve the right little girl. You're so much more than that. You're my future, my second chance. He kissed her deeply. I won't waste it, Maya. I promise you that. Good. Because Isabella has approximately 47 more wedding drawings to show us, and we need you around to approve all of them. Vincent laughed, the tension breaking slightly. Only 47? She's slacking. Give her time. The night is young. As if on cue, they heard small footsteps padding down the hallway. Maya? Daddy? Are you still awake? I had another idea about the wedding, Isabella's voice called out. Vincent and Maya exchanged amused glances. In here, princess. Vincent called back. Isabella appeared in the doorway, clutching yet another drawing. I thought of something really important. Can we have a chocolate fountain? Sarah from school went to a wedding with a chocolate fountain, and she said it was the best thing ever. A chocolate fountain sounds perfect, Maya said, making room for Isabella on her lap. Really? And can I dip strawberries in it? You can dip anything you want in it. Isabella snuggled against Maya contentedly. This is going to be the best wedding ever. Looking at Vincent over Isabella's head, seeing the love and determination in his eyes, Maya believed it. Despite the threats, despite the danger, despite everything that made their situation complicated, it would be the best wedding ever, because it was theirs. The morning sun streamed through the windows of the master bedroom, their bedroom now, for almost a year, and Maya woke to the sound of giggling outside the door. She knew that giggle. "Vincent," she whispered, shaking her husband's shoulder. "Vincent, wake up. Isabella's planning something." Vincent cracked one eye open. It's 6 a.m. on a Saturday. Can't her plans wait? When have her plans ever waited for convenient timing? A valid point. Vincent sat up just as their bedroom door burst open, and Isabella raced in, followed by a slightly guilty-looking Luca carrying a tray. "Happy anniversary!" Isabella shouted, leaping onto the bed between them. "We made you breakfast!" "Bella, we talked about inside voices," Vincent said, but he was smiling. "Sorry, Daddy. Happy anniversary," Isabella repeated in a stage whisper. "We made pancakes shaped like hearts, because it's your special day." Luca set the tray across their laps, and sure enough, there were heart-shaped pancakes, along with bacon, fruit, and 2 cups of coffee. "Thank you, sweetheart," Maya said, kissing Isabella's cheek. "And thank you, Luca. This is wonderful." "The kid did most of the work," Luca said gruffly. "I just supervised, and put out the small fire." "Fire?" Vincent's eyes narrowed. "Very small fire, barely worth mentioning." "Happy anniversary, boss, ma'am." Luca beat a hasty retreat. "There was only a little bit of fire," Isabella assured them. "And Uncle Luca had the extinguisher right there, so it was fine." Maya caught Vincent's eye and saw her own amusement reflected there. This was their life now. Breakfast made by a mobster and a 6-year-old interrupted sleep. Small kitchen fires. It was perfect. "Well," Vincent said, cutting into a pancake, "if breakfast includes fire hazards, I can't wait to see what's planned for the rest of the day." "Oh!" Isabella bounced excitedly. "I made you anniversary cards, and there's presents. And Uncle Rico is bringing pizza for lunch because he said anniversaries should have special food, and Teresa made a cake that looks like a wedding cake but smaller." "Sounds like you've been busy," Maya said warmly. "I had to make sure your first anniversary was perfect." Isabella settled between them, stealing a strawberry from the tray. "Because you guys are perfect together, and I want you to know how happy I am that Maya's my mommy now." Maya's heart swelled. A year ago, she'd been a struggling waitress with no idea that her life was about to change completely. Now she was married to a man she loved deeply, mother to a child she adored, and part of a strange, complicated, wonderful family. The year hadn't been without challenges. There had been more threats, more security scares, more late nights when Vincent came home tense and exhausted from dealing with his business. But there had also been laughter and love and countless ordinary moments that felt extraordinary. School plays where half the audience was heavily armed bodyguards. Family dinners where the conversation casually included discussions of shipping logistics that Maya knew meant something entirely different than legal freight. Bedtime stories that sometimes got interrupted by urgent phone calls. It was unconventional. It was sometimes scary. It was always interesting, and Maya wouldn't change any of it. "What are you thinking about?" Vincent asked quietly, reading her expression. "How different my life is from a year ago. Better different or worse different? The best different." Maya leaned over Isabella to kiss him. "I never imagined I could be this happy." "Me neither," Vincent admitted. "After Maria died, I thought that part of my life was over, that the best I could hope for was to be a good father and keep Bella safe. I never expected to fall in love again. And then I walked into a diner and asked a random lady to be my mommy," Isabella interjected cheerfully. "Best idea I ever had. Best idea anyone ever had," Maya corrected, hugging her daughter close, because that's what Isabella was now, her daughter, not by blood, but by choice and love and daily commitment. The adoption had been finalized 3 months ago, and Isabella now proudly carried both her parents' names. Isabella Maria Moretti Martinez. Can we have our own special breakfast tradition? Isabella asked suddenly. Like, every Saturday we all have breakfast in bed together? As a family? Vincent and Maya exchanged glances. I think that's a wonderful idea, Maya said. Even if it sometimes involves small fires? Vincent asked dryly. Especially if it involves small fires, Maya confirmed. It builds character. Isabella giggled and stole another strawberry. I love our family. We love our family too, Vincent said, wrapping his arms around both his girls. And there, in the morning sunlight, eating heart-shaped pancakes and laughing about kitchen fires, they were just a normal family. The fact that one of them ran a criminal empire, another had walked away from her entire life on faith, and the youngest had orchestrated the whole thing with the determination of a tiny general. Well, those were just details. What mattered was the love, the commitment, the daily choice to be a family, no matter how unconventional that family might be. So, Luca's voice came from the doorway, making them all jump. How was the breakfast? Because the kid wants to know if you liked it enough to give her the present early. Luca, Isabella whispered loudly. You weren't supposed to tell them about the present. Sorry, kid, it slipped out. What present? Maya asked, intrigued. Isabella's eyes went wide. Nothing. No present. Forget Uncle Luca said anything. But she was already scrambling off the bed, running to her room, and returning with a box wrapped in purple paper and approximately an entire roll of tape. Okay, maybe there's a small present, she admitted, climbing back onto the bed. But you have to open it together. Vincent and Maya carefully unwrapped the package. Carefully, because Isabella had indeed used an excessive amount of tape, to reveal a framed photo. It was from their wedding day, all three of them laughing at something. Isabella was between them in her purple sparkle dress, and the joy on all their faces was unmistakable. But what made Maya's breath catch was the inscription Isabella had carefully written in her best handwriting along the bottom of the frame. The day our family became official. Love, Isabella, Daddy, and Mommy, forever and ever. Oh, sweetheart, Maya's voice cracked. This is the most beautiful gift. Do you really like it? I tried really hard on the writing. Miss Jennifer helped me spell official. We love it, Vincent said firmly. It's going right on my desk so I can see it every day. Really? Really? Isabella beamed, and Maya marveled at how much the child had grown in just a year. She was more confident now, happier, secure in the knowledge that she was loved and wanted. The sadness that had shadowed her eyes that first day in the diner was gone, replaced by the bright joy of a child who knew she was home. Thank you, Isabella, Maya said, pulling her daughter close. Thank you for finding me that day, for asking me to be your mommy, for giving me this incredible family. Thank you for saying yes, Isabella replied seriously, and for staying even when things got scary. I'll always stay, Maya promised. No matter what, you're stuck with me now. Good. Because I don't ever want you to leave. Then I guess we're all stuck with each other, Vincent said, gathering both of them into his arms. They stayed like that for a while, the three of them tangled together on the bed, surrounded by the remains of breakfast and wrapping paper and love. Outside, Maya could hear the usual sounds of the estate. Security guards changing shifts, Teresa already starting preparations for lunch, Marco checking the vehicles. The ordinary background noise of their extraordinary life. A year ago, Maya had been lost, alone, struggling to find her place in the world. Now, held in the arms of her husband with her daughter snuggled between them, she was found. She was home, and it had all started with one little girl's desperate plea in a diner. Please, be my mommy. The best question Maya had ever been asked, and the best answer she'd ever given.